Hello leaders, and welcome to another episode of the video version of the daily podcast, the leadership podcast, Run to Your Leadership Challenges. And today I am continuing on with the mental health issues and disorders and how you can lead them better. And today we're going to talk about depression. So Monday we talked about awareness. Yesterday we talked about anxiety disorders. Today we're jumping into depression, and anxiety or disorders and depression are two of the most common issues that you're going to find in the workplace. So let's push the play button or the record button and let's start. This is episode 317. Unfortunately, I don't have all those on video. I just started those a couple weeks ago, but anyway, you can go back and listen to them all on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Alexa, all that other stuff. All right, let's go.
I don't know that one.
Alexa, stop. She's always listening. Hello, leaders, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. Hey, this week we're talking about the challenge of how to successfully lead mental health issues and disorders in the workplace. Learning about the various issues and disorders our team members may have is a great start to lead them the most effectively. On Monday, I mentioned some of the more common mental health issues and disorders, and just to bring awareness to you all. Yesterday, we talked about anxiety disorder, and today we're going to talk about depression. Now, according to the World Health Organization, depression and anxiety cost the global economy $1 trillion per year in lost productivity. I don't know if you got that or not, but I said $1 trillion with a T. Man, that's a lot of cash. And an estimated 44 billion of that 1 trillion in the US alone. So I'd say learning about how to lead team members with depression and these other types of disorders is very, very important. It's too costly to ignore, and the productivity of your organization is definitely going to be impacted. So it's best that we learn how to deal with these and we learn how to lead people with disorders. Leaders need to understand in order to lead your team effectively. Let's start with a few key symptoms of depression. First of all, depression is much more than just having a bad day. It can have a direct impact on how a person feels, thinks, and acts, and it can decrease their ability to adequately function at work and at home. According to the Center for Workplace Health, if a person experiences the following symptoms for more than 2 weeks, they should consider seeking medical help. And I'm going to read all these off because these are too important not to. Feeling sad, loss of interest in activities that you used to enjoy, difficulty concentrating and or making decisions, changes in appetite by either overeating or not eating enough, trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, restlessness activities as fidgeting and all kinds of stuff like that, or slowed speech, the feeling of worthlessness or guilt, thoughts of suicide or self-harm. Now again, if you're experiencing those symptoms for more than 2 weeks, man, you should seek help. You should really consider making an appointment with your doctor and going to talk to somebody. Now, depression affects about 7% of the population, and it first appears during the late teens to mid-20s. And women are more likely to experience depression than men are. Sadly, only about 57% of the people with depression actually seek medical help. So that leaves over 42% of people with depression that are just trying to do it on their own, trying to make it through day by day by day, with depression. And that's why support systems are so important in our work centers. Leaders are in a prime position to notice depression in its very early stages if they can identify behavioral changes in their team members. That's why it's so important to get to know your people. Get to know their typical behavior so you can recognize their non-typical behavior. You see, when you know your people, you know how they act in certain situations. When you don't know your people, you don't know if they're having a good day or a bad day. And when you know your people and you know how they're going to act, you know when something's up. You know when something's just off. And that's the non-typical behavior that your team members may display. So leaders can play a crucial role in supporting team members and ensuring they direct them in the right direction and to seek help. Finally, some actions leaders can take are similar as people with anxiety, like we discussed yesterday. Awareness is, again, the very first key, and it's very important for depression. Post things on newsletters, emails, bulletin boards, your safety boards, your info boards, and stuff like that. All right, get the word out to your people. Also, encourage leaders at every level to not be afraid of encouraging their team members to converse about dangers of depression. Don't be shy to talk about this. And don't be shy to talk about the symptoms and the warning signs. And man, encourage each other at work. If somebody's having a bad day, go over and pat them on the back and say, hey, we all have these bad days. It's going to be okay. We'll get through it. Ask them what you can do to help them. So I also want to encourage you to research some online tools. You can use all of these tools in your organizations. The Center for Workplace Mental Health has created a document called The Right Decision that can be used. And the World Health Organization has created the Mental Health Action Plan to promote greater awareness. Hey, I'm real sorry this went a little longer than normal today, but you know what? Things like these things are just worth going a little bit over on. And I want to make sure that you guys are all taking action in your organizations, because this is people's lives we're talking about. And if you can help them through this, you might have one of the best team members that you've ever had in your life. So have a great day and lead your people well. Until tomorrow, run to your challenges. All right, there is just no way that I'm going to be able to cut that down to 2.5 minutes. That'll probably be a 4-minute podcast. But I think these issues and these disorders are really worth talking about a little extra minute or two, because these are people's lives at stake. Depression in its worst cases, if you've ever been around an organization that had a suicide in it, man, it impacts everybody. It doesn't only impact that person's family, but it impacts everybody, all their friends, their distant families, all their coworkers, people that know the coworkers. I mean, if you live in a small town and you've experienced a suicide in your hometown, you know what that's like. So don't be afraid. And I know a lot of this is taboo in the work center. Oh, you can't talk about that, or you can't talk about this. And I know HIPAA rules, once you start seeing certain symptoms, you can ask people, you can ask them if they're all right. You can share awareness. You can post things about depression and anxiety and all these other disorders that we're going to talk about the rest of the week. Now, once they start going to the doctor, you can't pry and you can't go to them and say, hey, what do you have? Or what's wrong with you? I need to know. And that violates HIPAA. But there's no reason why you can't have a good conversation with somebody up front. Show them that you care. That's just plain old-fashioned human caring, right? People caring about other people. And, when your people know you care about them, man, they'll love you as a leader. They really will. They'll still hate you sometimes because you got to hold them accountable. Don't get me wrong here. They're not going to get all gushy on you and whatnot, but they're gonna love you. Deep down, they're going to love you. And it might not be this year, it might not be next year, 5 years from now. I'm going to tell you, 5 years from now, you'll probably get a call, and it'll be the person that were the biggest thorn in your side, and they're going to say, hey, I just want to call you and say thank you. Thanks for being so tough on me. Thanks for caring. Because they'll never forget that. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and this is a tough topic to talk about. So come on back tomorrow, and we'll talk about another mental health issue or disorder. Not sure what we're going to talk about. I'm doing these one day at a time, and I'm doing a lot of research on them. That's why I am reading some stuff. So I apologize for that, but it's just too important just to kind of wing this stuff. All right. So have a great day, and as always, run to your challenges.